In this video, I'll show you my top 5 drone shots for overland and off-road video. I've given them all names, but because I'm not very imaginative, they're not very imaginative. If you haven't already, check out my video on the top drone tips for using your drone on overland video. I go over some of the drone choices, some of the ways you can get the most out of your video footage. I've also put links to my recommended drones in this description, so you can check those out too. Most of the shots in this video involve filming from a moving vehicle. If you're going to do that, you need to make sure you're the passenger, not the driver, and that you're in a remote location. It's actually illegal to fly from a moving vehicle in a densely populated area. The drive-by. This is the easiest shot by far. It involves flying the drone ahead and setting it up somewhere and driving past it. This is similar to what I used to do before I owned the drone, but instead then I'd have to run on ahead, set up the tripod, run back to the vehicle, then drive past it. This is obviously a lot easier because I don't have to run around a whole bunch, but you can also get some movement involved. There are a couple of ways to do this. If you've got a point of interest, you can set the drone up so it's looking at that point of interest and then drive behind it, or you can just set the drone as close to the ground as possible. Either way, you want the drone moving. You either just want to slowly have it slide to the left or slowly to the right. And the way I do that with the drone is I'll just put my thumb down by the side of the controller and just jam it in there so that it's holding it to either the right or the left, and that helps control the speed, keep it steady, and if you're going over bumps you're not going to be moving it around a whole bunch. And that's it. It's simple and it's easy, but it gives you a nice moving shot. This is another simple shot, but it involves a little more practice because you've got to match the speed of the vehicle, and that can be a little tricky. Once again, when you're trying to match the speed, just jamming your finger or your thumb underneath the controller gives you just a little more control over it and allows you to make finer adjustments. You can also vary this shot. You can change the follow distance so you can get close to the vehicle behind it. You can go low down to the ground, which shows you a good sense of speed, or you can go high up and it gives you a sense of the remoteness. You can see the landscape, the scenery all around you. If you are following the vehicle closely, just be aware that if your drone has proximity sensors, it can be pretty annoying because it'll see that vehicle, it assumes it's a stationary object, so it thinks you're about to drive into it, and mine just does the emergency stops all the time. It's pretty annoying because it always seems to happen on the best shots, but it's better than crashing. You also don't just have to follow from behind, you can follow alongside or even from in front of the vehicle, and with that one, once again, you can vary the distance, especially the ones from the side. I've done shots close up from the side, shots that are further away, close in front, and further away in front. But both these require a lot more practice because it is a lot easier to crash. You need to be able to see the drone, have your eyes on the drone, see the height, see what's around it, and make sure you're not crashing into the ground or doing what I did and crashing into a tree. For this shot, you're going to circle, or at least partially circle, a point of interest. That could be you set up at camp, it could be some kind of scenery, some kind of rock formation, anything. And it involves slowly moving the drone to the side while rotating it. And this shot can be a little more difficult because it requires a lot of practice to kind of match the speed that you're moving the drone to the speed that you are turning the drone. And with this one, it can also be difficult to get a smooth turn of the drone. So once again, I'm going to use the thumb trick. And with this one, I want to have the drone slowly moving to the left. I usually start with the movement, and then I'll slowly start turning it in the opposite direction. It's easiest to move the drone to the left and turn it to the right, which is why you'll see a lot of my shots do it that way around, because it can be more difficult to get the thumbs on the inside and get that matched up correctly. Once you've mastered the follow and the circle, why not combine them both? Now this one is probably my favorite shot to do because it looks awesome, but it is also the most difficult one to do smoothly. To set myself up for this one, I start by following the vehicle alongside. I may start following close or far away, and I'll either move towards or away from the vehicle at an angle, and as I go, I'm going to slowly start to rotate the drone. So let's say that I have the drone close to the vehicle, I've matched the speed by pushing the stick over to the right. What I may do is start to pull the stick down and maybe center it a little bit so that the drone starts to slow down and move away from the vehicle. While I'm doing that, the vehicle starts to pull ahead, so I'll match the rotation so that it follows the vehicle. You may also just want to circle the vehicle, in which case you start alongside again with the stick pushed to the right, and as the drone starts to move ahead, you'll want to circle it, so you'll push the left stick over to the left so that the drone is turning, but when it starts to get in front of you, you're going to want to match your vehicle speed, so you'd have the stick pulled back. Once you start to get the hang of it, if you can also start adjusting the altitude. So this looks really cool if, as you're coming in towards the vehicle, you're lowering, or as you're going away from the vehicle, the drone's going up into the air. You're basically going to be moving the drone on all of its axes. And once again, once you get that rotation set up right, you want to hold those sticks as still as possible for as long as possible to get a really long, smooth shot. Having something in the foreground of a drone shot makes it cool. Having something move to reveal the subject is even cooler. And depending on what you're filming, this can be fairly easy, so if you're revealing something that's stationary, that's really easy to do. If you're revealing a moving object like a vehicle driving, that can be really difficult to time, and actually I've tried it a bunch and most of the time I end up failing because I mistime it. And the way you do your reveals can vary. You can do it through camera movements, you could use horizons, so maybe cliff edges, tree lines, flying up over them to reveal the background. You can also combine those shots with a zoom in editing to give you a dolly zoom effect, which looks really cool. Just don't overdo it. Now, my favorite ones are the ones where I am flying behind a rock and it reveals us driving in the background. I think those ones look really cool. So there's 5 different shots you can try out on your next trip. Hopefully it gives you some really cool footage. If it doesn't, just keep practicing. Some of them take a lot of tries. I've been doing this for several years, and the first few times I went out, couldn't do it at all. Now I feel as though I'm getting there, but obviously I can still keep making these things better. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and go check out my drone tips video. Thanks for watching.